Can you just say what they are?
It's a place setting from my grandmother, well, actually my step-grandmother, and she would bring them out on special occasions, and I actually don't have a whole lot of memories of them, but I did not, when my grandmother passed, I didn't really get anything from the estate, I guess you could say, and I wanted something that reminded me of her. And so when I found out my stepfather was going to sell the dishes, I don't know who he was going to sell them to, but he basically offered them to me, and so I bought them from him. That way I could keep something of my grandma's.
Do you think he gave you the family discount?
No. He may have thought he was giving me a discount. I think I paid $250 for them, and this was, I mean, we were poor. You guys were very little. Your dad was he in the military, or he had just started being a cop or something? We did not have money, but I found a way to buy the dishes.
Why do you keep them?
Because they remind me of my grandmother. And my grandmother, her house was the only place that I felt like a kid. And so I have very fond memories of my grandma because I could just be a kid whenever I went to her house. And she would take us out to visit the elderly, and it was hilarious because these elderly people that we'd visit were like 20 years younger than her. But she'd take us to the pool. She'd take us to go do kid things, and that's not really anything that I did at home.
So do you know of anyone in the family who has expressed interest in inheriting these?
I don't. We haven't really
Maddie's
talked about it. All right, so my daughter Madison has expressed interest in having them.
Maddie, do you have a specific reason you want to inherit these?
They're important to Mom. Again, we also brought them out during the holidays, so it reminds me of Thanksgiving.
How does that make you feel that she has a completely different association with the dishes?
It doesn't bother me at all.
Doesn't bother you?
No. I mean, because my association is very personal with my relationship with my grandmother. Like, it wouldn't make sense for her to make the same association. Yeah. So, no, but it makes me feel happy that she looks at them and thinks of fun times that we've had.
What are we talking about today?
These are my assorted plates that I got from my grandmother, technically. She didn't give them to me. I scavenged them, essentially.
You scavenged them?
Yeah, that's how it feels, because, like, I always knew growing up that eventually, when my grandma would pass, that if there was an opportunity for me to, I wanted to have the plates, because I just really liked them always growing up.
Yeah.
And when my grandma did pass away, I was definitely worried at the time that there would be someone else who would fight me for the plates. Thankfully, I actually got lucky. No one else seemed to have an interest in them, and I got to pick out... I didn't even take all the plates. I just got to pick out the ones that I wanted.
And there's not a single identical set in this. Every single one's individual. Why were you so attached to these plates?
Honestly, for a lot of different reasons. When I was a small child, I loved the fact that none of them matched. And the first time I really remember thinking about the fact that my grandma had plates that didn't match a single other plate in her cabinet, I just was struck by the individuality of the, like, not even just the plates themselves, but the fact that no one else I knew was doing something like that. The fact that nothing about them matched each other was just so my grandma.
Yeah.
Every single time I eat a meal, I can still picture moments sitting at her table for breakfast, and I'd stay the weekend at her house and just, like, having finished my breakfast and seeing breadcrumbs on that plate. I do have I associate happy memories with my grandma with them, but I have vivid snapshots in my brain of, like, eating off of them.
So, and one of these plates is not like the other.
Yeah, I got my own plate to add to the collection so that I can continue to grow it and create new memories as well as have my old memories associated with them.
And in so doing, inspire the entirety of this project.
I did do that. So yeah, that one is mine. They're all mine, but that one is mine.
what emotions does it feel to like have your own plate that you acquired added to this set?
While it doesn't have the same attachment emotionally to my childhood and my grandmother, who I loved so much, the fact that I am continuing this tradition of just accumulating random plates feels like it does feel like part of it, even though it is not originating from my grandmother's house, because it's just like adding a new piece of my grandma, even though she's not here anymore.
So would you in your lifetime want to see who they go to and the connection that maybe a family member will build with them, or would it be fine for you if you pass away and what happens?
I would have loved to have a moment with my grandma where like while I'm busy looking at the plates and fawning over them as I do every time I pull them out, like to observe that and to realize that the whole reason I feel that way is because of her and her life. So to know and see that I mattered that much to someone would be wonderful. But we don't always get that.
Thank you. Thank you for helping. So what would you say an heirloom is then?
I don't know. I guess I think an heirloom is something that's nice that you want to last the ages and bring out when you've got company and like, I guess sort of show off to other people. And it's not like I bring people in and I'm like, look at my Tupperware and check this Tupperware bowl. Exactly. That's all bent and warped. And so I guess that's probably why. And it's not like anything that I would even hope my kids would want me to hand off to them.
I want it.
So if you want it, there you go. Let's see how long we can keep this Tupperware alive.
3, 2, 1. Did you want to do it?
No. I was just waiting for it.
Please.
Yes, I'm Carol Missakar. Friend for some years with Emma.
Hi, my name is Robert Fleming. Let me see. Robert Fleming, and I'm speaking with my granddaughter, Emma.
I am your grandmother, June Lawrence Fleming.
My name is Sally Repman.
I'm Sam Repman.
Yeah, my name's Hannah Fleming. I am your sister-in-law.
I'm Larry Smith.
Anna Smith. Married to this guy. Mom to this girl.
I'm Alex. I'm the eldest child, which means I get first dibs on heirlooms.
What specific heirlooms are we talking about today?
Well, I have a glass pitcher that has some engraved little kind of a star on it, so it's very distinctive. That was my mother's mother item, and I think it was probably like a wedding gift, and they probably got married about 1915.
All right, and what heirloom are we talking about today?
My grandparents' martinis glasses.
So, the first thing I have is something inherited from my mom, and we don't really know what it's called. We call it a Lazy Susan kind of dip thing. And then the other thing that I have is a dish set from my grandmother. The Lazy Susan dip thing, I think my parents purchased it. I don't remember where, but they've had it as long as I can remember. So basically my whole childhood.
So I have this delightful little skillet here that my grandmother gave to me when I moved in with your brother. She's like, I didn't have time to get the skillet engraved because she was on the bottom wanting to get engraved. If you see this, you're in trouble.
The egg poacher was what I grew up with. I don't remember when it came to be in the house because we always used it.
The ones I am going to talk about are a set of crystal plates that I got from my aunt.
I'll be talking about a 10-inch chef's knife from my father handed down.
What would you say an heirloom is?
Well, I think an heirloom is just anything that is passed on to you from a previous generation. It doesn't have to have any sort of monetary worth. And I mean, I've even gotten heirlooms that they were passed on to me, but they did not hold any significance for me, but they were significant to the person that passed them on to me. So those are all considered heirlooms and of value. It just holds a different meaning, I suppose.
I don't necessarily think it needs to be something that's like super old and passed down. You know, usually I feel like they're associated with some kind of milestone and like, you know, like, oh, you're getting married. Oh, like it's a birthday. It's like an age thing. Or, you know, someone passes away, which it's still a major life event. So I definitely think there's some kind of sentimental value and just, you know, it's something you remember things with or something you remember a person with.
You said earlier that you wouldn't consider them heirlooms?
I don't know. I just say them family pieces. I see an heirloom as being something that has value, monetary value, rather than sentimental value. These have sentimental value to me. They don't have any monetary value. The sentimental value means to me so much more than monetary value.
These are things that help us connect with our past and the people in our past, in our families that we may have known or we may never have met, but somehow you're connected to them.
I feel like there is an expectation to continue passing it down, because otherwise then it's a gift. Like, it can still be a significant gift, but I don't know, it's tricky.
Something passed down in a family that has some kind of memory attached to it. So, you know, sometimes I think the memory goes away, so then they don't mean anything, so it doesn't any longer become a heirloom. It might be an antique or something like that, but right now they're an heirloom in our family because I do remember the happy times that they brought. But I think that'll go away pretty fast, and they'll just become antiques.
Anna, were you the only one to get these plates, or was this a tradition?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was tradition for each, you know, for especially girls to start getting, you know, plates to kind of build up their fancy dinnerware collection for when they, you know, were adults. So.
I had been told pretty much most of my life since I was a small child that like we had like a family member who like escaped her abusive husband because she hit him with a skillet. And then in preparing for this, I casually mentioned that, you know, so I was like, oh, hey, Mom, you know, I'm talking to Ethan's sister for her like research project about like the skillet thing. She's like, the heck are you talking about? What skillet thing? I didn't get a skillet when I got married. And then she confirmed with my aunt that she'd never heard this. And my sister and I distinctly remember being told this by my grandmother. She does stuff like this all the time. Very entertaining. Never a dull moment.
How did you come to inherit these as opposed to like my mom or Aunt Stacy or something?
Well, I asked for the Lazy Susan thing. I told my mom I always wanted it. Aww. And so somehow she remembered that and was able to give that to me. And then the dish set, it might have also been that I asked for it.
In this case here, it was more to do with my involvement in the kitchen, working with my dad. And of my siblings, I was the one I guess he felt would appreciate it the most and take care of it. The second part being more important to him.
And train your children to take care of it.
Right.
Have you trained your children to take care of it?
Alex?
Yes.
To be honest with you, probably nobody else wanted them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they're nothing striking or nothing fancy. They're just kitchen items.
So why did you want them?
Because they were family.
Mm-hmm.
That I seem to be the one in the family that cares most about family items.
Do you have any specific memories or stories you associate with these?
No.
I don't know about specific memories. I think with the chef's knife, it's not specific, just like getting older and not being as scared of the chef's knives because they were just so big when I was younger.
With my grandfather and my grandmother declaring that there might be that during a holiday time for a martini or time they're over to celebrate something. So they were from New York and kind of had a little bit of that old school class to them. So the celebrating with the martini was symbolic to celebrating an accomplishment or something.
Yeah, I think just different memories. Of them and then of my mom. Not really anything specific, I think. Just kind of more the feeling of that person.
What is the main reason you continue to keep these objects?
Quality, utility. And we live very much in a consumer society, or not consumer society so much as a consumption society, and we throw things away. It's just quality lasts. It's something that can be handed down.
Because I'm a keeper. I'm more on the side of keeping everything until I have to get rid of it. And so I'll keep it until I move to maybe a small place and can't take it. But I'm not a person that gets rid of things easily.
So you said that you bought a couple different egg poachers over time and threw those out. So why did you throw the new ones away?
Because they didn't work very well. I mean, literally didn't work very well. So we just keep falling back on this old one. So we don't think we'll buy any more egg poachers.
I mean, I just love him for multiple reasons. You know, getting him from my aunt, seeing the wildflowers on there just, reminds me of Sweden. I also just love it reminds me of the pride that Swedes have in Sweden, like in general, that like just growing up, it was like, oh, Costa Bora was like so nice and it was like such a great crystal. And it's like, I don't know if comparatively it is, but to me it is, right? Because it's, that's the brand growing up that we were proud of,
How regularly do you use them now, if at all?
I never use them. But I display them actually in my dining room. I'm not sure what they're made of in terms of using them with food. But also I just don't want to ruin them or nick them or scratch them or have anything bad happen to them. So they're kind of nice to just preserve, I guess.
We use all of those items on a regular basis. Nothing is sacred, so to speak.
No, I don't really use them.
Well, for entertaining, we have a rather large family, and so we have birthday parties and holiday parties and barbecues. So probably just a handful that I use on a regular basis. Like the pitcher I'm going to show you, a water pitcher is always useful for whatever party you have.
Do you think cleaning it, having the upkeep, adds like sentimental value to the object at all, or do you just see it as...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, kind of the thing with cast iron is that you build seasoning over time in it. Yeah. I definitely really kind of like that idea behind it of like, you're not... Like, obviously you're cleaning it, but still just like all the different memories of like using it just make me they make my heart happy.
So how would you feel if, say, you were to take this to someone to like have a chip repaired, or to like, would it feel like you were altering the piece in some way, or would it feel good to do that? What do you think?
I think if it made it so that I could use it more, I would feel fine. Because these things are not... their value is in the emotional experience that I have with them and not so much in their actual worth. And so I would not... I would feel fine if I repaired them and altered them a little bit. I don't think it would detract from their worth or anything like that.
From an antique point of view, when you alter them, the value is greatly diminished. It's like, I'll show you that table in the corner, that little pedestal table. Your Uncle Chris wanted that, and he said, but I would really like to have a fancy tray that I could use for parties and carry around and use for drinks or for snacks or whatever. So I refinished that table, and in the process I took the top off, made another top, put handles on the original top, and set it back down on the second top. That's actually a table and a tray both.
Oh.
The top lifts off. So it was a kitchen item as well as an occasional item. They were family pieces, and to continue as family pieces, they needed to work better, you know. But to turn around and sell them as heirlooms, it's not going to happen.
Do you guys have someone specific in mind that you want to pass your projects on to?
I think it's about safety. So, I love you, kiddo, but safety.
Yeah,
We'll
is she
see,
the
we'll
better
see.
option?
She's safer with the blade. She's safer with the blade.
Just somebody who would use it. Somebody would be interested. See, my daughter Julie would, and she probably wouldn't use that picture. I doubt she would, because it'd get banged or, you know, smashed or something. You know, kids aren't very careful of things sometimes. So, you know, you can't worry about those kind of things too much. You just, you know, you use them when you can, and you hope that somebody else is going to use them, but you can't really determine that for sure.
You know, wherever they go, I don't really care if they stay in the family.
So, have either Lila or Harleen specifically asked to inherit these?
No, they have not.
Do you hope that one of them will want to keep these?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, you know, but I don't know that they will have the same feelings about it because they don't see it in use as I always saw these things in use. So I don't know that it will hold that same connection.
Does it make you sad that they won't have the same associations, or?
Yeah, it definitely does make me a little sad because neither of those people are still here, so they don't have the same relationship that I had with them. And it also makes me wonder if I should use them more, and make them a part of, you know, our holidays or make them special in some way. Again, I'm not sure what they are made of, and so it does make me a little hesitant to eat off of them. They are a little banged up, and so I just wouldn't want anything else to damage them. So it does, yeah. So I don't know. So I have some mixed feelings about using them as they should be used, and maybe as the people who had them would want them to be used, versus just having them on a shelf and looking at them and appreciating them that way.
I just hope it doesn't go to Goodwill. It's just like the school bell. I'm still sick that was in our family 120 years and they weren't interested in it. It's like genealogy. Once you get into genealogy or family history or...
I know you obviously like doing ancestry a lot and things like that. Do you find talking about these objects to be along the same vein as doing ancestry, or do you prefer to...
Yes, very definitely. That's why I have them. I find that family history are all tied together. That gives them their importance. They're not important items other than the history of them.
So, Alex, what do you want to inherit? And since you're the next generation, this could even include stuff that your parents have acquired during their lifetimes.
Right. Yeah. Not the cast iron skillet, but the other ones.
Carbon steel.
Carbon steel. I would like one of those. The tulip platter. Yeah, that one I would really want. There's some things where it would be nice, but if Lucy feels more strongly about it, then those ones aren't worth being like, nah, it's mine. I feel like I'll see them regardless, even if they're in Lucy's kitchen. So, yeah.